You're listening to an African Elements top news story for July 23, 2025. Please visit our website at africanelements.org for more daily news. The Trump administration released over 240,000 pages of FBI records regarding the surveillance and assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. These documents, including surveillance reports and photographs, had been sealed since 1977. The FBI gathered these records and submitted them to the National Archives and Records Administration in 1977. This release is part of a transparency initiative by the Trump administration, which also included the declassification of files related to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy and Senator Robert F. Kennedy. President Trump signed an executive order for declassification upon taking office in January. The JFK records were unsealed in March, and some RFK files were disclosed in April. The release occurred despite opposition from Dr. King's family and the civil rights group he led until his assassination in 1968. Dr. King's children, Martin III and Bernice, were notified in advance and reviewed the records before public disclosure. In a statement, Martin III and Bernice King recognized the public's curiosity about their father's killing, but emphasized the personal nature of the matter. They urged that the files be viewed within their full historical context, highlighting the FBI's surveillance as part of a broader campaign, including COINTELPRO, aimed at disrupting civil rights leaders. While Dr. King's children expressed concerns, his niece, Alveda King, expressed gratitude to President Trump for the transparency of the document release. The King family's statement also warned against the potential misuse of the documents, cautioning that promoting the fruit of the FBI's surveillance could align with efforts to degrade Dr. King and the civil rights movement. The FBI's surveillance of Martin Luther King Jr. began in the late 1950s and intensified in the 1960s under Director J. Edgar Hoover, who viewed King as a threat to national security. The surveillance included wiretaps, informants, and covert operations aimed at discrediting King. These actions were part of COINTELPRO, which targeted various domestic political organizations to expose, disrupt, and discredit them. For Dr. King, this meant attempts to expose alleged extramarital affairs and portray him as a communist sympathizer. The release of these files underscores the government's efforts to suppress dissent during a pivotal period in American history. The initial reports do not detail specific new revelations regarding Dr. King's surveillance or assassination. The focus has been on the release itself, the volume of documents, and the King family's reaction. The King family stated they would assess whether the newly released files provide additional insights beyond what they already accepted regarding the assassination. The King children emphasized their family's intense grief over their father's death and requested empathy and respect when engaging with the released files. This plea highlights the sensitive nature of these documents and their impact on the King family. Detailed reactions from historians or the public regarding the significance of these documents are not yet widely available. The initial focus has been on the King family's immediate response and concerns. The King children reiterated that their father's case has been a long-standing public curiosity. They condemned any attempts to misuse the documents to undermine Dr. King's legacy or the civil rights movement, indicating awareness that the information could be manipulated for contrary agendas. The long-term impact and interpretation of these documents will likely unfold as scholars and the public analyze their contents. The reports do not specify how the public can access the released FBI records or if a searchable database will be available. However, since the records were turned over to the National Archives in 1977, they will likely be accessible through official channels. For those interested in these historical documents, checking the National Archives and Records Administration's website for updates on accessibility is advisable. Navigating this vast collection will require significant effort from researchers and the public. The reports do not indicate ongoing investigations or legal implications resulting from the release of these FBI documents. The focus remains on the historical context of the release and the King family's reaction. The court-imposed seal since 1977 suggests that any immediate legal actions related to the content may have been resolved. The release of these sensitive historical documents may renew public interest and calls for further examination. Copyright African Elements.